Hi. In the previous step, we have Dockerized 4 different microservices and published the Docker images to the Docker Hub. In this step, we are going to create a Docker Compose file so that we can start all services together. Also, we are going to set up all these services with dynamic port so that they can start it on the same VM and register the IP address and the port number to the global console cluster. The Docker Compose file can be found in Open Banking Organization Light Config Test repository. Here you have a service folder. Within service folder, you have this Docker Compose.yaml. Let's walk through this file. Within this, we have services accounts using this image, the latest, and we have accounts./accounts map into the config folder, so we can have the externalized configuration. And we pass in the Docker host IP as the status host IP so that the server knows the host IP address. The network, we are using the host network. The logging, we disable that. Otherwise, we can use the logging enabled to send the log using logstash to send to Elasticsearch for indexing and searching. We have 4 services defined in this Docker Compose files. And when we go back to each individual service, let's open the accounts service. You can see here we have a value.yaml to override some of the values for default configuration. So we enable JWT, verify JWT. This is already done in the last step. In this step, we add a couple more overrides. Server dynamic port equal to true so that we can dynamically allocate the port number for multiple services running on the same machine. Server enable registry we set as true so that once the service started, it will register itself to the console cluster as a global registration and discovery. Client verify host equal to false. When we connect to the console, we are using the HTTP2 client provided by Left4j. As the console is only using the IP address, so the certificate is self-signed certificate. There's no domain name, so we basically turn off the verify host name in the client module. For other values, other configuration files in the same folder, you can see we added console.yaml so that we can connect to the console server using the console URL and the token to the console for authentication, authorization, and so all other configurations. We are using HTTP check so the console can check our service to ensure it's healthy. We are using HTTP2 to connect to the console because console is supporting HTTP2. Another file we need is server service.yaml. Within the service.yaml, we define multiple mappings from the implementation to the interface so that we can use console client to register to the global registration, and we have a console registry, and we have load balance, we have cluster support, all work with service registry and the discovery. We also need client.trustStore. This client trustStore contains an actual certificate from the console so that we can connect to the console using HTTPS. We also add the logback.xml so that we can update the logging level if we want in the externalized folder. Once we got this updated for all 4 different services in this folder, in the service folder, we can log in to the remote server. I'm using test2 to start all services together on that particular VM. You can just check out this project, light config test, on test2 server. And then you can start the service together. This is our test2 server, and you can use docker compose up -d within this service folder to start all four services together. Once the service started, you can see the service is registered to the console. This is the console interface. You need to log in to the console from settings using the console token, otherwise you cannot see the services. Here are the services we for this open banking demo: accounts, balance, parties, and transactions. You can see all services up running already, and they are healthy. We cannot access those services from outside because the firewall is not opened for this service on the dynamic ports. The dynamic ports will be allocated between 2,400 to 2,500. So in the next step, we are going to set up the light router to route the request using the normal HTTPS port 443 to access all the services we have behind the scene. We have a firewall enabled from a portal server to our test2 server so that they can access those dynamic ports. That's it. Bye-bye.